What's up, everybody? Brett here, and we're back with some more news. Today is Friday, and every Friday, the folks over at Overhype Studios have been kind enough to do a dev blog talking about some of the things we can expect in the upcoming Warriors of the North DLC. And today is going to be about something that's kind of low-key, very important. Uh, they're titling this "The Tunes from the North," and in a second, I'm going to read it. So basically, what we're going to learn a little bit about today is the music, and their choices and kind of building that atmosphere in Battle Brothers. So for those of you who watch my playthrough, you've heard the music. I have it kind of low, that way it's not like overbearing when I talk. But the music in Battle Brothers is amazing. Um, there's a lot of variation depending on like what's going on, and sometimes it really adds to the atmosphere. It pumps you up or it stresses you out, and music is very important in games. So when I first, and I even had that, I still, as as old as I am now and as many video games as I've played, um, I was not sure what to expect from this week's update. And as soon as I saw it was about music, I was like, ah, man, I was hoping to get some more info about units or, equipment and stuff like that. I wasn't as excited about this. And it took me a second to kind of think back, and I was like, you know what, man? I've played so many games over the years that when I look back, sometimes I can barely remember a game, but I can remember the music. And as I've gotten older, I've definitely grown to appreciate music in games more and more. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized this could end up being a pretty nice chance to talk about that. One of the unsung heroes of great video games is definitely the soundtracks. So let's go ahead and read this pretty short little blog here. So it says, before venturing further into the Northlands, let's set the mood this week by taking a closer look at fresh music accompanying the new faction of Northern Barbarians coming with the Warriors of the North DLC. Yep, Breakdown Epiphanies are on board again to add to the game's music. Let's see what they have to say in this week's dev blog. So, Tunes of the North. As those of you who have been following Battle Brothers since the days of early access know, as composers, we ourselves took an RPG approach when it comes to orchestrating soundtracks for the various factions in the game. The undead are accompanied by an orchestra solely comprised of dark string instruments and percussion that is supposed to resemble the rattling of bones. The orc music is dominated by dark and menacing brass, as well as sounds of metal. For the brigands, our theme was instruments you can carry around with you, and so on. The signature sound of each faction in the game grew from imposing limitations upon ourselves, which in turn led to a very distinguishable tonal landscape that could even give away what the player is fighting the first time they do so. Interesting. I'm going to have to keep that in mind as I continue to play. Like, really try and listen for the soundtrack that's playing for each race and see if I can pick up on those different instruments. Because I'm kind of bad at that, at making it a point to do that. But now that I kind of know that's there, I should definitely try and do that. You may be happy to hear that for the upcoming Warriors of the North DLC, we got on board again to expand the soundtrack with new music accompanying the players' battles against their new adversary, the Northern Barbarians. Adding new factions to the soundtrack gets more tricky as time goes on. While from a gameplay standpoint, fighting the barbarians will play out differently than fighting orcs, there are certain aesthetic similarities: brute force, heavily armored higher tier units. They show up in clans. Yeah, I mean, that's stuff like I said in the previous videos. That would also favor a similar approach to the music, which in case of the orcs translated to throwing all the brass instruments and war drums that we could find into the mix. Luckily though, the barbarians also lend themselves well to going a different route, which is mostly inspired by their Nordic and Rust-themed lore and background. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. Like when I think of this style of music, which I think is what they're alluding to, one of the first great soundtracks that comes to mind for me is Skyrim. And I'm sure you guys, if you love RPGs, you probably played an Elder Scrolls game, and you've probably played Skyrim. I wouldn't be surprised if Skyrim was like one of the most played games of all time, especially of our like generation. But yeah, I think of that like that almost guttural, very Nordic sounding track And I mean, I don't know how much you guys watch shows like I love like The Last Kingdom. That show is amazing, and I love Vikings as well. And it's kind of going in weird directions, but listening to those two shows, I mean, their soundtrack, even Game of Thrones, kind of has something that I might expect to hear in a DLC theme this way. So there's a YouTube link. I'm not going to click on that. You guys, welcome to go into Steam and check the news. I'm not sure what'll pop up when I go to this, so I'm going to keep that on the DL. I'll listen to this in my free time for sure, though. So it says, avoiding brass and the resulting overlap with the orc faction completely, we decided to use vocals as the tonal background of this faction of Northmen. Yeah, like that guttural, almost chanting, like just like Skyrim, very similar. Aside from more common singing styles, we incorporated mouth percussion, overtone, and throat singing, which is a vocal style found in Norwegian folklore, Mongolian music, and the shamanist rituals leading back to the Stone Ages. I love Mongolian music. A long time ago, I started listening to it, and I can't really name any bands or music groups, but every now and then, like I get the urge. It still pops up in my YouTube like feed every now and then. I listen to stuff. They're kind of tying in like heavy. I'm not a big heavy metal guy, but when you tie it into the Mongolian like guttural like chanting, it just sounds awesome. As from a gameplay perspective, the barbarians are a variant of the brigands. We also fell back on the brigands' instruments you can carry around with you philosophy. Only a single violin, a Swedish, oh god, Nyckelharpa? It has the word harp in it. I imagine, yeah, this is a medieval string instrument. A couple of drums and a choir of hardened Nordmen come together to add new signature battle tracks to the Battle Brothers soundtrack. While production is still going on, we are happy to give you this sneak peek today. So, you know what, let's try and click on the YouTube link. I don't know what'll pop up. Who knows? Okay, we just get my feed here. Some of the stuff that I watch, if you're interested. Let's check this out. Hopefully that's not too loud. That sounds awesome. I'm going to try and put it a little bit louder. If this is too loud for you, I mean, you might want to stop the video because I don't want to blow your eardrums out, but I'm just going to put it a little bit louder. This is pumping me up. I feel like I got to do some push-ups. Well, anyway, guys, that's awesome. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Wow. Wow, wow, that's cool. So, I can already picture it. You get swarmed by like dozens of barbarians, and then that like guttural, that sounds very Mongolian to me. And you can kind of hear the beating of the war drums. Like, it's going to feel intense when you start doing the late game fights. I can't wait. So guys, that's going to be it for me today. Just a quick update and a quick bit of appreciation for the great soundtrack that is in Battle Brothers. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, guys, my name is Brett, and my channel is Good Talk Gaming. If you're looking for a playthrough of this game, I've got one going right now, and I'll be doing plenty in the future. Alienware, I don't need to update you right now, buddy. But feel free to check me out. And yeah, that's it for me. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take care.